What's up everybody, Brian here with BPS Customs. Today I'm taking a closer look at a couple of products from Patriot Memory, the Viper V560 gaming mouse and the Supersonic Magnum 2 USB flash drive. So the first product that Patriot ever sent over to me was the Viper V760 mechanical keyboard, and you can find my review of it up here. Patriot has taken a uniform approach to their Viper product line, with similar design cues used on the keyboard, the gaming headset, and this, the V560 laser gaming mouse. Let's get it out of the box and then we can talk a little bit more about it.
Alright, so here is the Viper gaming mouse. Now this is the packaging that it comes in. Pretty standard packaging, I guess, for a mouse. It's nice and sturdy. It's going to kind of protect it during shipping. You open this flap up here, you get some information about the mouse. So here Patriot's talking about all the features that come on this mouse. And one of the things that I actually was really excited to try out was the adjustable weight system. Now this is not something that you normally find on a product of this price. This is only a $40 gaming mouse. And it comes with a 12,000 DPI laser sensor, adjustable weights, interchangeable grips. There's a lot of customization available for a product that's not all that expensive. And certainly these are things that you don't generally see on products in this price range. All right, so let's get this thing out of the box. There we go. Anything else in the box? Nope. Get rid of that. All right, so this is everything that comes in the package. We obviously have the mouse with a nice braided cable. It is extremely similar to the cable that is on the V760 keyboard that I reviewed. It's the same color scheme, same braided material. It's very thick and nice, but like I said, same thing as with the keyboard. Just watch where you are routing this because the fabric does tend to catch on some sharp edges. So just be aware of that. The pamphlet, the packaging comes with pretty standard stuff. So then you have your quick start guide, which is very basic information. It basically just says plug the mouse in and it'll work. But Patriot actually does have on their website a suggestion that you upgrade the firmware on this mouse. And I will be doing that before I do any actual testing here. So there may be a cut where I'm going to update the firmware, but I would also recommend doing that. Anytime a manufacturer specifically says, hey, we recommend updating the firmware of your product, it's probably a good idea to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that before I really get into this mouse. So this is what's left. This is the important stuff in the package. Now you have this, which is an interchangeable side plate, and it's a very interesting addition by Patriot on a budget product. So this side plate, which actually feels really soft and nice, it's like a soft touch plastic, can be changed out for this side panel. And it actually makes sense because when your hand is resting on the mouse, my ring finger actually, I don't know if I could really demonstrate, but it kind of sits here. It doesn't sit down here. It sits up a little bit. This is where the natural position of my finger goes, and that's what this will emulate. So if you have a grip like this, which I guess I'm more of a claw grip, but if you have a similar grip and not a palm rest, where you're gonna rest your hand all the way down, but if you have a claw grip and your finger usually sits up on the side of the mouse, you could install this side panel and your finger will actually have a place to rest. The way you get the side panel off is this red button down here. Now, it is a little bit difficult to press, and I wish the release mechanism was a little bit easier, but you press it in and then you get to pull it out like that. Now, this is actually also how you access the weights, and we're gonna talk about the weights in a second. But I'm gonna put that back in for now. So let's change out the side panel. It's really easy to put on. There's a little latch right here. Just kind of clips right in and you're installed. So now you have a situation where you could use your claw grip and I don't know, my pinky is kind of flailing around here, but my ring finger now rests right on this ridge. So this is a perfect solution for people who don't want to have their finger kind of floating out in the middle of nowhere. And I can actually compare that to a couple other mice. This is the MX Master by Logitech, and this is the G602 by Logitech. Now, I guess you could tell that I do like Logitech products. I use a lot of them. But Logitech has taken kind of a different approach. Now you see the sides of both of these mice are actually very similar in shape. Patriot has designed the Viper mouse to have a much more dramatic indentation on the right side. So with the Logitech products, whereas your finger is going to kind of fall off the side here and be supported almost by the top part of the mouse when you rest your hand on it, my finger is like right on the corner. Same thing with the G602, I'm kind of resting right on the corner. This is a narrower implementation of the buttons. So if you do that here, my finger actually kind of misses the corner of the mouse when I just kind of naturally put my hand down. So if there was nothing here to support my finger in particular, just the way I grip the mouse, and I'm sure a lot of other people are the same, otherwise they wouldn't have included this ridge. This plate comes in super handy because it gives you that support on your ring finger as your hand is resting on the mouse. So I'm gonna leave this plate on while I do my demo because this is what I prefer. I like having this ridge here. But it's up to you. If you have a different grip or you prefer this side panel, then just leave this one on. It's actually really nice that they give you the option to do that. So let's talk about the weighting. Now you get to the weights just like I showed you by pressing this red button. And then the weights actually come in this little tray, and this is how you add weight to the mouse. The weights come in this puck, and they're just little, they almost look like physics lab gram weights. But you could add the weights to the mouse as you see fit, and they get in there and they're very snug, so they're not going to move around when you're moving the mouse. Doesn't matter how many of them you have in here. And then you could put them wherever you want if you have a preference, but they do add a significant amount of weight to the mouse. Now each one of these little pucks is about 5 grams. So you could add up to, the Patriot says 29.4 grams of adjustable weight, but it's 6 times basically 5. If you have a style where you're lifting the mouse a lot or you like more resistance when you're moving it, just add more weight and it becomes more yours. It becomes more your style. You could change the side panel, you could change the weights, and you could change other things about this mouse we're going to get to in a second. So besides the standard 2 buttons, Patriot's obviously also going to give you some additional functionality because this is marketed as a gaming mouse. So let me zoom in a little bit here. So this mouse has 9 total programmable buttons. Now while that might not seem like a lot because companies like Logitech and Corsair are coming out with gaming mice with huge numbers of programmable buttons, like this G602, which has all these buttons along the side, obviously these as well, and here, up here, and here. I actually prefer a little more simplicity when I game. I am not a competitive gamer, so I don't want to have to be fussing around with a million different buttons, and I like having accessibility to the functions that I want without having to struggle to find the exact button in a field of them. So the 9 programmable buttons that you have on this mouse are obviously the left and right buttons. You have a 4-way scroll wheel, you have this button here, and you have these 2 buttons here. Everything else in this mouse has a dedicated function. So I'm going to plug this mouse into the V760 right now, and we're going to get some power to it. I'm going to show you the functionality that it provides.
All right, so we're all connected up now. We have the mouse plugged in, and we have the software running as well. So I'm going to try to show you both things at once. So now the software is very customizable. Obviously, it allows you to edit some macros and things of that nature. We're not going to get into that now, but I like that the mouse allows you to change profiles, and there's actually a button on the mouse right here, the mode button, that allows you to cycle through the profiles as you click the button. And it actually will change the color of this little LED indicator to correspond with the profile that's selected. So it's easy to switch through them without bringing up the software if you know which color you want.
So this right here is the DPI indicator. So this will indicate to you which preset you're on when you scroll through the DPI using this little selector button here. You could go forward and you could go back. And as you can see, as I select different levels of DPI, the LED on the mouse changes, and also on the screen, the upper left-hand corner of the screen, you see a display showing you what the DPI actually is as I select the different levels. Now, the DPI presets can actually be configured in Sensor. Now you can see here as I hit the button, it will scroll through the different presets. And you can change these presets all the way from 50 all the way up to 12,000 DPI. That's a pretty significant change, and if you have a game that requires high DPI settings, you could set the preset 1 to 12,000, and now we're at 12,000 DPI. These are all configurable. so that you can make them whatever DPI you want, and you could easily scroll through them with this little button on the mouse down here. You also have the option of making the X and Y axis independent of each other, which is really kind of a weird thing to experience if you've never done it before. But if you're on, so I make preset, if I make this preset with the highest vertical and the lowest horizontal, I can look at the mouse cursor. I can't even move it left to right without it shooting up and down the screen. That's pretty wacky. Now in the main screen, you could also configure your lighting setup. Now there's not a whole lot of lighting on here, but the LEDs correspond to this light up here and also this light at the bottom of the mouse. So I'm not sure how well this color is coming through because this is a very kind of light, like an aqua color. But if we scroll through our presets to red, see this is now, well, I don't know if you can actually even see it. Maybe I cover it from the light. There we go. Can you see that? Now it's red. But when you put it down on the desk, it actually kind of has like an underglow going on. Hold on. See the red underglow? Maybe, I'm not sure. But there's a red underglow that comes from there, and it corresponds to the LED that is your profile selector. So you can then change profile 1 and make it yellow. How about a yellow? Okay. So now we have a yellow LED here, and we have yellow under here, under the mouse. Those are the only LEDs that are programmable on the mouse, and I actually kind of like that because mouse LEDs to me are always a little bit pointless, unless maybe they're on like up here or on this side or maybe at the very front of the mouse, because otherwise your mouse is basically covered while you're gaming or doing whatever, so you don't see an LED that's here even though it may look really cool. One thing that I wish Patriot did do with this mouse is make it a little more color neutral. I understand that obviously this is a consistent design aesthetic with their Viper line of gaming accessories, but the black and red does limit you a little bit as far as where you could put it if you're trying to go for a certain color scheme or something along those lines. This isn't really going to fit unless you're black and red. I mean, even though you can change the underglow to yellow, honestly, I don't know how well the yellow goes with the red accents on here. But, you know, I guess similarly to what I was saying before, if your mouse is mainly covered and you don't really see the red, then maybe just you kind of see the underglow and it's okay. But again, everything that I'm saying here, every small little gripe I might have with this mouse, I then think back to the fact that this is a $40 product. This is not a $90 or $100 MX Master. You know, this isn't a $70 G602. And guess what? This has just about as many features as this does, and also a few things that this doesn't have. So for value for the money, I'm not sure that you're beating this mouse, I don't know, at all. It definitely feels pretty good in the hand. It is a little light, so I am really glad that it does come with the adjustable weights, because just holding it and moving it around just right now, I could tell that I'll need a little more heft. So I'll put a little more weight in here. And honestly, like, they didn't have to do this. They didn't have to give you this option with a $40 product, but they chose to. And I really applaud them for that. So I guess to wrap up, the negative points that I may have about this mouse is that yes, it is a little bit light, but it doesn't feel flimsy at all. It feels very sturdy and well built. I kind of wish the color scheme was a little more neutral. I also kind of wish the cable was not braided, but the finish on it is this really smooth, soft touch plastic. The removable and interchangeable side panels are a really nice feature to have. The ability to customize the weight of the mouse is awesome. I mean, my Logitech doesn't even have that. It has ceramic feet, which glide really smoothly on my mouse pad, which is really nice. And the programmability of this to get up to 12,000 DPI or as little as 50 DPI if you really want to is really handy. So let's move on and take a look at the Magnum 2 USB drive.
Now, when I got this in the mail the other day, I was probably a little more excited than a normal human being should be about receiving something that looks like a depressing shade of lipstick. The worst highlighter in the world. A really stubby Apple Pencil. A Bic lighter. This is the Patriot Supersonic Magnum 2. And it's fast. Like, stupid fast. It has a USB 3.1 interface that of course is backwards compatible with USB 3.0 and 2.0. Using it with a legacy platform though is doing both yourself and this drive a great disservice. That's because this 256 gigs of Fury can achieve read speeds of 400 megabytes per second and write speeds of 300 megabytes per second. Now, while that doesn't make it the absolute fastest drive on the market, it's close enough that it's likely that you won't regularly be able to achieve those speeds because some other part of the chain will be the bottleneck, not this drive. I tested this on my personal system, transferring relatively large 4K video files back and forth using USB 2.0, 3.0, and 3.1 ports. I also transferred from both a mechanical Western Digital black 4TB drive and a Samsung 850 EVO. Transfer speeds using USB 2.0 were predictably limited by the port, as we didn't exceed 45 megabytes per second to either drive. Hooking it into USB 3.0 and 3.1 ports were a completely different story. Writes to this drive from the mechanical hard disk hit 146 megabytes per second, and when copying from the SSD, the average was right around 275 megabytes per second, with peaks hitting 282. Hard disk read speeds were similarly limited by the spinning platter to 134 megabytes per second, but when reading from the Magnum to an SSD, we hit 427 megabytes per second. I'll let that sink in for a minute. That's absurd. The Magnum exceeds its rated read speed and approaches the theoretical max read speeds of many SATA 3 solid-state drives. You could literally use this tiny stick that's smaller than my thumb as an actual SSD. Bitwit Kyle also did a video that I'll link to down below where he took a similarly fast flash drive and gamed off. That just kind of goes to show that drives like this are not only fast, they're consistently fast. If you regularly transfer large files between disconnected systems, a drive like this could come in extremely useful. This size goes for about $100, and you could find the super size 512 gig version for about $200. Now, I've put some links down below if anybody out there is looking to pick up either of these. Don't forget to get subscribed for more product reviews and builds like this one over here. And hit that like button down there if this review made you weep tears of joy. Or sadness. Whatever. Thanks for watching, everybody, and as always, see you next time.